I am literally getting buried in red flags by your real life drama. That is right. These are not Reddit stories. These were stories submitted by you guys on my forum. Y'all got some crazy stuff going on in your life. Yeah. All right, the first person wants to be left anonymous. I got petty revenge on my cheating wife by getting her car repossessed. This wasn't originally a planned thing because I at first thought of some other ideas, but after research about just what she's been doing, I decided to go all out. No holding back. I, 47 male, discovered my wife, who we will call Jessie, 43 male, had been cheating on me with multiple guys through Tinder. Jessie and I have been married for 12 years and we have 2 children together, daughters, and have been through so much together, and then I find out she does this to me. It's a complete twist of the knife because she was the love of my life and I bust my butt off to pay the bills and provide my girls for everything they need, only to find out that I'm getting screwed over. I'll provide some background as to how I found out and what led me to do what I did. FYI, this took place a few years ago over the span of a couple of months. Jessie and I were married for 12 years and it was your ordinarily happy couple. We built a life together, we bought a big house, we both worked high-paying jobs, and live what you would consider a rich life. Nothing too crazy, but just a happy life. That was until one night I caught a glimpse of a Tinder message that appeared on Jessie's phone. For context, I had just previously bought her a brand new car, a Subaru, which cost me $20,000, and she was head over heels when I surprised her with it. I'd say quite the surprise. Surprising someone with a new car, like if you were in the position to do that for someone you love and care about, that would be so exciting. I would love to do that for someone I love. That's a lot of money. Maybe one day I'll get there, you guys. Maybe one day. Never say never. I wanted to give her the dream car she always said she wanted, and it felt like a wonderful chapter. This was until this happened. It was only about a week after I purchased the vehicle when I discovered the Tinder. FYI, the vehicle was in my name and the payments were charged to my credit card. Anyway, when I found the Tinder message, it caught me by surprise. Why in the world was my wife getting a message from Tinder? That made the hair on the back of my neck stand up because I got the feeling that something fishy was going on. Yeah, I feel like married people have no reason to even have Tinder on their phones. Preach! Later that night, while Jessie was sleeping, I snuck out with her phone to do some investigating. What I found was enough to make me want to puke my guts out. I found literally hundreds of messages she had with more than 20 guys. Most of them contained explicit pictures and some details about dates and times when she has hooked up with these men. The worst part, when they asked if she was married, she said no. That absolutely broke my heart and I was livid. I knew I needed to put an end to this and I needed to do it in the way that cheaters deserve. I knew what I had to do. First things first, I got in contact with a divorce attorney and he got me divorce papers. Once that was in hand, it was a full go. For context, my buddy George works as the general manager at the car dealership where I bought her car. I reached out to him to inform him what I had discovered and he was appalled. When he asked if there was something he could do to help, I asked him if he could take the car back and have it repossessed. He was all in. He told me I would only have to pay a settlement penalty in order for them to take the car back, which was roughly $4,000, but it was best to do this rather than continue to live with a cheating wife. I continued to play naive with Jessie while I was secretly planning my revenge behind the scenes. Jessie was out of town for a few days. From what she said, she was visiting family, when in reality, she was probably going to hook up with more men from Tinder. That's when I went all out to get my revenge. I went to the bank to meet with our accountant and I got her name removed from all our financials, credit cards, mortgage payments, car payments, insurance, etc. I also got her credit cards frozen too, since they were all in my name. I then went and changed all the locks on the doors, changed the security code, and I packed up all of her stuff in boxes and I drove them over to her sister's house. Just thinking she's gonna come back from this trip and literally have no life. Like her entire life is gone. What she knew her life to be is gone. Bye-bye. I informed her sister about what I had discovered and she said I could leave all her stuff in the garage. By the next morning, she was waking up with one of the guys somewhere with no car, no credit cards, no money, and no way of getting home. I also got notice for all of her stuff that it was ready to be picked up. When she found out, she was furious and tried to threaten me with X, Y, and Z, but she had no leverage because it was all under my name. Also, I forwarded screenshots of the Tinder messages to the divorce attorney, who was able to use it in the divorce court meetings, and I wound up not having to pay any sort of spousal support or alimony because we live in a fault-based state where if there's records of a spouse spending marital assets for infidelity uses, she is the one who bears the brunt of it. The court ruled that Jessie not only would not receive any money of alimony, but that she would have to repay me the amount of money she had been spending going on these supposed family trips, which wound up costing over thousands of dollars to hook up with these men. When the divorce was finalized, I looked over at her and in front of the judge and all those in attendance, and I said to her, "You cheat on me, this is what you get. Without me, you're nothing." Man, the last jab felt so good. We are divorced and I'm happy to say that I have found a new woman who just so also happened to be a victim of cheating. We both have been open and honest about our experiences, and we've drawn some hard boundaries about what to expect and how we want things to go. And honestly, it has been perfect. We don't get jealous, we don't do anything shady, we don't keep secrets, we just click. I guess some of the worst experiences still bring some good things. If you can't stay loyal, stay single. Amen to that. That is wild. You know what I'll never understand is when there is a couple where one person is the sole provider, everything's in their name, they pay for everything. It boggles my mind that people will cheat in a situation like that, knowing the risk that if they find out, there is the good chance they're gonna leave and I will have nothing because they fund my entire life. Like, not even that is enough for you to stay loyal.
You cheated on me when I specifically asked you not to?
That's crazy. People just, I don't know. People are crazy. Next story is also anonymous. It's not a petty revenge from me, but more of a karma being a fickle biatch. Oh, okay. Tell us how you really feel. I worked for a call center for a major wholesale company. So picture seas of cubicles. There was a girl there, and I say girl because she was like 18 and I was in my late 30s. I am a large woman, always have been, definitely plus sized. We sat kind of near to each other since we were both in the email department. I would stop on my way to work from time to time to get a McDonald's breakfast, a sausage egg McMuffin meal. This detail is relevant to the story. Oh my gosh. Those are so yummy. I have not had a McDonald's breakfast sandwich in years. I can't even remember the last time. But growing up, and their hash browns, I haven't had McDonald's breakfast in probably a decade. I should try it. I should go out there and have a good time. I don't really eat fast food ever. Anyways, I'm a very friendly person. I was never mean to her. I even brought her a donut that she mentioned to me because it was from a store close to me. She and the person I thought was my best friend used to talk smack about me, calling me fat and how I scarf down McGriddles. I hate McGriddles, by the way, but they said I ate it every morning. A new manager overheard them talking smack and she confronted my friend. Told him he was not my friend. She actually pulled me into a meeting to talk to me about it to make sure I was okay, and they moved our section. Oh, we have some bullies. I was sitting next to the little whiny twit next to me. She tweeted, quote, "Like my life doesn't suck enough, but work moves me next to this 600-pound woman who never shuts up." What does my weight have to do with it? Someone told me about it and I went to HR and they protected her. I understood for the most part, people can post anything they want, but everyone from work could see it and knew who she was talking about. So they separated us. I kept clear of her. About 2 months later, a professional football player called in to adjust his membership. She tweeted about calling him in and said the reason for the call even, and she tagged the star in her tweet. what? Can you say breach of privacy? The PR for said star got a hold of the CEO of the company. This company happens to be based in the state of the team. She got canned. She got fired for using the same platform that she used to bully me. So in my opinion, karma had my back. Also, she had a child and got to be bigger than I was back then. Not judging, it just kind of made me chuckle. I just can't believe there's still people in this world who are doing that. Like bullying and making fun of someone's weight and things like that. Ugh.
Bullies, big bullies.
That just reminds me of elementary school and high school. Like when you're teenagers, you deal with that kind of stuff. As an adult, I mean, she was clearly a teenager. She was 18 and acting it. Next story is also anonymous. I, 34 male, never in my wildest dreams imagined myself in this situation. I discovered my wife, let's call her Amy, 34 female, was having an affair with her boss. Y'all. Everyone's getting cheated on my channel. You guys, are you okay? I am just going to unload here to put this into history for my own good and perhaps help others along the way. It's a very similar story to other ones that I've read, but maybe there's some uniqueness to my experience. This is brand new, so forgive me for the details. I put it all here in a document for myself and to reveal her cheating actions for everyone to see. Just so you know, I'm using fake names. A little background on us. Amy and I have been together for 10 years and it has been nothing but a happy marriage. We've never had any history of fighting, separation, jealousy, or any of that. Just pure bliss, full of laughs, family trips, growing businesses, yard projects, 2 beautiful young boys. It's been a blast. That was until my wife got a new job. This past year, Amy interviewed for a position at a highly respected long-term care facility and was offered a high-up position by the man who is now her boss. Let's call him Rick, 60 male. Since taking the job, she has talked very highly of him and his focus on family, success, and of course, how he believes in her ability to succeed at the company. Fast forward a few months. I'm sitting there meeting him and I remember thinking something was incredibly suspicious going on between both him and Amy. There were some recent out of character actions I began to notice that caught my eye. While this new role brings in some out of office activities like golf, fundraisers, etc., some things didn't really align with how I envisioned how things operate at a care facility. I wasn't suspecting anything in particular, but over time, my intuition was screaming that something was out of place. I'm telling you, your gut always knows. Something in your body knows. When you have a suspicion or a feeling of being cheated on, I guarantee if there were statistics, 90% and above, you were right. I'd be surprised if anyone's out there had the suspicion and they were wrong. Doesn't happen often. One night in June of last year, I found myself in a deep panic at home while Amy was out for drinks and dinner with her coworkers after a golf fundraiser or something. At one point, she said that she'd be home in an hour, which was around 9 p.m. That came and passed and I got no answer. And then another hour and then another one had passed and it was now 11 p.m. and she still hadn't come home. For context, we share our locations on our iPhones using one of those tracker apps to track where we were for the sake of both of our boys. When I pulled up the app, her location was stuck in the same place, somewhere on the side of a busy road, which was nowhere near where she said she was going. I tried calling her, but her phone was going to voicemail. I started freaking out because I thought she may have been in an accident. Yeah, or kidnapped. Finally, on the brink of calling the police, she calls me to say she's on her way home. As you can expect, I told her how terrified I was and she explained that her phone died and she was in her coworker's car without a charger. That has never happened before. She has never ever been out late and not checked in with me. I attributed it to a brand new job, new coworkers, and her efforts to fit into the social scene with this new role of hers. I understand when you're in a highly stressful position, you have to play the game of being social with coworkers and other colleagues for your own benefit. Her story did add up for the most part. However, her behavior was completely out of character for the woman that I always knew her to be. My gut feeling was telling me that there was something going on that she wasn't telling me. Fast forward a few months later, things continue to pop up and I noticed my wife undergoing some major changes. She started attending the gym more. She said she wanted to build a bigger chest, and her morning routine is much longer than it previously had been. FYI, she's in far better shape than your average gym goer, so this was way out of left field to me. I asked her why she felt the need to go through these changes. She said that Rick told her to dress to impress whenever they had their company's golf tournaments, because they often hosted some local higher up clients who had associations with people that worked in state government. I figured that was a pretty valid reason, but the more I heard about Rick, the more suspicious I got. I don't know about that. That to me is a big red flag. Between our first time meeting and all the changes that Amy had been making, I was beginning to suspect that he was involved with something more than it seemed. It turns out my suspicions were right. So let's get to when I found out. It was our son's first day of kindergarten. We took pictures in the morning for my son's first day. Together, we walk him down to the bus stop, and she's rushing because she doesn't want to be late for work. She said I would need to pick up the kids after school because she and her coworkers were going out for drinks and dinner afterwards, as they always did. I agreed. Later on that day, I picked up the boys from school and we headed home, and we made plans to kill time while we waited for my wife to come home. For my wife to come home. She said she'd be home by 6 to make us dinner. Can you guess? I can guess. She didn't come home at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock came and she hadn't come home, nor even reached out to tell me that she was on her way. I tried calling her, but it went straight to voicemail. I pulled up the tracker app and her location was turned off. The last known location was 3 hours ago, and it was located at a hotel that was 40 minutes away on the other side of the city, which was nowhere near where she said she was going. Why the hell was she at a hotel when she said she was going with her coworkers for drinks? At this point, my mind is racing and I needed to find out where she was and what she was doing, because I had it at this point. I tried calling a few more times but got no answer. It was time to take matters into my own hands. I called the boys' grandmother, my mom, to ask if she could come over to watch the boys for a little bit. I didn't want to exactly say what was going on, so I just told her that I was going up to meet with Amy and some friends for drinks and dinner. She came over within an hour, and I drove the full 40 minutes to the hotel where her last known location was. I got out of my car and I power walked all the way in there like Arnold Schwarzenegger because I was not in the mood to be friendly. I was going there to confront my wife and put an end to this whole thing. I walked into the lobby, and after some looking, I noticed 2 of Amy's coworkers who I've met before sitting at the bar. I approached and I asked if they knew where Amy was, and they said she was headed over to the swimming pool or hot tub area to join some coworkers. I followed them, and when I entered, I looked over and I saw Amy in the hot tub with Rick, and she had her arms wrapped around him and they were making out. I blacked out for a minute because my brain couldn't handle and process what I was seeing. I screamed at the top of my lungs her full name, and immediately they both turned, and when they saw me, they looked like they had seen a ghost. At this point, my anger was building and building, and I was trying very hard not to take things further. Amy spoke first and said, "Babe, what are you doing here? You're supposed to be with the kids." "And you're supposed to be with the kids, ma'am." I said, "Why the hell are you here and what are you doing kissing another man?" They both sat there silent and couldn't find the words to answer me. I was mostly eyeballing Rick because he knew I was her husband, and yet he still went through with this. My anger just burst and I moved towards him before being held back by some of her male coworkers. I tried pushing past them, telling them who I was, but they were much bigger and stronger than me. Keep in mind, there are like 10 other people in the room getting a front row seat to this whole drama. After they got out of the hot tub and wrapped towels around them, I demanded answers. I already knew the damage was done, but I still needed answers. How long has this been going on for? And I want the truth. They both answered at the same time, but gave me different answers. Amy said, "Just once." Rick said, "A few months." It didn't matter anymore. They were both lying. I then asked if they had slept together, and after a long silence, Amy confessed that they had slept together multiple times over the past couple of months. months. It turns out on those nights where she hadn't come home, she was hooking up with Rick after going out for drinks. She turned her location off so I couldn't see it, and they had hooked up before she came home. I was absolutely flabbergasted at this whole thing. I felt so angry yet so stupid for not acting sooner because I had suspicions, and like an idiot, I didn't listen to my gut. I was fighting back tears at this point because I knew our marriage was over and everything we had been through. After everything we had built and shared, it was all gone in the blink of an eye. I drove home crying because I didn't know how I was going to tell both my mother and our two boys about what I had discovered. I made it home and the boys were already in bed at this point. My mother sees me crying and I hug her and inform her of everything. She was absolutely shocked and devastated. Apparently, I was loud enough where the boys came down the stairs and saw me crying and they ran and hugged me. It was quite a shock because I held them whenever they cried, and now this was the first time that they held me when I was. What a dramatic moment, but it felt good to know that while I lost her, I still have them. Finally, I pulled it together and I had age-appropriate conversations. I told the boys that mommy and I were not going to be together anymore. The look on their faces absolutely broke me because they loved their mother and they felt like their whole world was crumbling. I informed them of what I had discovered and that this was what needed to be done. I used this as a teaching moment to teach them that when you love someone and when you're in a relationship, you don't ever cheat. As of today, it's been a long road since this whole thing happened. Amy said she wanted to work past it, but there was no way I was going back down that road. The damage was already done. Right now, I moved into an apartment across town and I have them on the weekends, whereas they stay with Amy during the school week. I can't believe what my life has become now after all of this, and I honestly don't know what the future holds. If you're in a relationship, let alone marriage, cheating is never okay. It's honestly mind-boggling that we have to even say that. Cheating's not okay, by the way. Yeah. I feel like we learned that from a very young age about like the commitment of what a relationship is. Anyways, man, another cheating story, guys. I hope there's not any more. Everyone on my channel is getting cheated on. We do have more stories though, so we'll see. But you know what time it is. It's hydrating time, baby. Get your water. You need it. I care about you. Cheers. So I was thinking of vlogging some of my move on my second channel. Maybe not like a full length vlog, but maybe some of the shorts so that I can do more vlogs more frequently. That's Lila that you hear on the floor. Anyways, I thought it'd be fun because I know a lot of you guys wanted like a house tour while I was in my current spot, but obviously some of that you got to censor for safety reasons. But I could do like an empty condo tour once I'm done and show you guys like where I filmed, what our situation was. And I can also do that at the new place. I cannot wait to show you guys the new place. It's a dream condo. So anyways, let me know if I should vlog some of the move, what you guys would want to see, and make sure you're subscribed to the second channel so you don't miss it. It is linked in every video description at Life with Joss. All right, and our last story is also anonymous. I discovered that my son is not actually mine. I'm just gonna cut straight to the point. Fake names are being used for safety reasons. Involved, me, 28 male, my wife, Kat, 27 female, and my son, Aiden, 5 male. I discovered this a few weeks ago and I'm currently in the process of getting a divorce, but I'm still contemplating whether I should walk out of Aiden's life. So basically what happened was I got a call from my mother-in-law who told me that Kat confessed to her that she had been having an affair with another man who we will call Adrian. So we have Adrian, but the son is Aiden. I would get confused. From what she told me, Kat was feeling guilty about this and wanted to get it off her chest because the guilt had been eating her up and she couldn't hide it anymore. Needless to say, I was shocked and absolutely devastated. When I asked why I didn't hear about it sooner, my mother-in-law said she told Kat directly that she needed to tell me directly, but I guess after trying to do so for about a year, she finally put her foot down. I did confront Kat, who confessed everything. It turns out the affair she was having took place before Aiden was even born. Adrian was a regular customer at her retail job. She claims it was a once-off from a moment of weakness and that she never loved him and that she ended things years ago. Of course, I wasn't buying it, so I did some digging. I looked up Adrian's name, and he has a public Facebook profile, and my son's physical resemblance to him is extremely apparent. For context, if it weren't for my mother-in-law, I never would have suspected anything because Kat and I are an interracial couple and Aiden is biracial. It turns out Adrian was the same race as me. I did end up getting a DNA test that proved that Aiden isn't biologically my son. I can't imagine the devastation that would come with that. Now, I am not a monster. I love my son more than anything, but looking at him now, I can't get Adrian's face out of my mind each time I do. I don't see the son that I believe I created. It is now someone else's. I do plan to seek counseling, but there's a good chance this isn't something that I can get over. I will not completely abandon Aiden though. I currently plan to set up a trust account for him with a third-party administrator so I don't have to be personally involved. I feel it's the least I can do for him because he's way too young to even understand. I have simply told him that his mother and I have fallen out of love, which is true because the revelation has killed my love and attention for Kat. That being said, I have written a letter which I have given to my mother-in-law to give Aiden when he's older, which will explain my side of the story. I have always had a good relationship with my mother-in-law and I trust her judgment on when that time will be appropriate. Kat, unfortunately, is making this process difficult by telling him that she's in love with me and wants me to stay, so I likely just look like a dad who is leaving for no reason. She's accusing me of abandoning our son because I refuse to forgive her and stay to try to make the marriage work for his sake. That's awful. What an awful thing to do to someone. Cheat, lie about the child being his, and then when you cheat and he finds out, you get mad at him and start trying to guilt him for abandoning your marriage and son. Crazy. Diabolical behavior. She is unwilling to tell Adrian about his biological son because in her mind, Adrian is not the real father and she does not want him to be involved in her son's life. Kat said that she's not in love with him and is calling me immature for not wanting to take an active role in Aiden's upbringing anymore. This just reaffirms that I'm making the correct decision to walk away. Last week, I consulted a lawyer to initiate divorce. Where I live, it is a no-fault divorce state, so Kat's infidelity is pretty irrelevant. However, I do have a prenup for all my premarital assets, so it's mostly just the marriage assets that will be divided, which won't cost too much. I have also instructed my lawyer to attempt the process of removing my name from my son's birth certificate. As hard as it is for me, I feel I have to do this because it's not right for a man to pay child support or alimony for a kid that's not his. I love Aiden and I only want the best for him because no child deserves to be in this situation. I will do my best to leave him in the best situation possible, and he has a wonderful grandmother who will be there for him. This isn't just an ordinary divorce, it's basically the death of a family and a life that I spent years building, and I don't know what to expect in the future. If you can't stay loyal, stay single. You guys get it. This is awful. I feel so bad. Also, I believe that Adrian deserves to know that he has a kid out there, and I think Aiden deserves to know who his real dad is. Cat. Let me know your thoughts, you guys. I'll see you in the comment section. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. Bye.